much, First Lady. Good evening to you. Good evening to all the elders, all the ministers, and all the family members. And if you are here for the first time, we welcome you to the Live Right family. You will love our family. I trust if you stick around long enough, you'll see how wonderful and loving this family really is. And so we want to continue where we left off last evening. And we have been talking about giving. Yeah. And we have been looking at the gifts of the Spirit for a long time now. Tomorrow, God's going to make it exactly 1 year since we started this. 1 year. It was the 10th of April, 2024 that we started talking about this. And today's the 9th of April, 2025. So God has taken us a whole year and He's teaching us. And the last thing we talked about, or the topic that we're dealing right now is giving. And the last thing we said is that, you have to be able to give what you have. And in fact, we said giving, my definition of giving is releasing what you have, right? Releasing it to someone. There are other definitions that the dictionary gave us, and I'm not too keen on those definitions really. But giving has to do with releasing, letting go. You can't give without letting go. You can't give without releasing. And I said to you that those who do not want to release are selfish. Those who don't want to give. If you cannot give, if you don't want to give, not cannot, but if you don't want to give, then you are selfish. You're thinking of yourself. But that's not the way the world works. You must give. And so I want to start off by asking you a question. If I steal something from someone and I give it to you, have I given? Because the last thing we said was give what you have, and we looked at the story of Peter and John when they were going up to the temple and the man was begging and the man asked them for money and Peter said, I don't have any money, silver and gold have I none, but such as I have give I thee. In the name of Jesus Christ, rise up and walk. In other words, I don't have money, but I got something that you need. And so they healed the man. The man was healed. My question to you is, they gave what they have. But suppose you come to me and you ask me for something and I don't have it, and I go and I take it from somebody without them knowing, and I pass it on to you. My question is, and don't think I'm looking for a particular answer, my question to you is, have I given to you? Let me hear from you. Joshua. Anyone?
Yes, Dr. Richards, we have 2 hands up. We have Sister Janet Thomas and Elder Sherry.
Okay. Sister Janet, in that order?
Good night, everyone. Dr. Richards, I think you did not give because in the first place it was not yours. You stole it.
But did the person receive it?
Yeah, the person received it, but then
So you could receive something without it being given to you?
all right, that's another thing. That's another thing.
Okay. All right, thank you. Who's the next person?
Elder Sherry.
Well, I'm going to face the same embarrassment because I'm about to say the same thing. You're going to give.
She's not embarrassed.
Give what is not yours, and whether or not you receive it with the understanding that you are giving me something, but it is not yours to give in the first place. I may not know that, but it's not mine to give, so you cannot give what is not yours.
So if I give you something and I stole it, then I didn't give you that. Is that what you're saying?
No.
I didn't?
Yeah.
But how could you receive something if it is not given to you?
Well, I receive it with the belief that it's being given.
But my question is, how can you receive something that is not given?
Receive it innocently.
But it's not how you receive it. The fact is you received it. So my question is, how can it be received without being given? In order for you to receive, somebody has to give.
What's your definition again, Dr. Richards?
My definition is just simply is releasing what you have.
So if you're releasing what you have, it doesn't necessarily have to be yours. So then you'll say you give. But I will still say that you can't give what is not yours.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else?
No one so far, Dr. Richards. No one so far, Dr. Richards.
I thought you were going to say something, Joshua.
I thought so. I wanted to hear Minister Joshua speak.
Well, I personally think that it depends on the intention behind how you give. I think that is given if you have good intention. If not, then it's kind of just passing it off. So in that way, you could still take something from someone and you could hand it off to somebody else, but it wouldn't really be given because the intent wasn't really to give it to them.
Okay.
At least that's what I think. It is the intention that matters.
Okay.
Thank you. Hand is up.
Okay, go ahead.
It is given. The act of giving is passing something on to someone, releasing it. The act of giving doesn't make a definition of where it came from.
Okay, interesting. Anybody else?
No, Dr. Richards.
Okay. All right. So we have two different things here. We're saying that, did we say before that no, it's not given? And Brother Bean says that yes, it is given, because the act of giving is releasing something that you have. Now, if we take that definition on the face of it, then yes, it is given. But when you think of what you have, I am thinking what you have is what belongs to you. You can release what belongs to you. You can give what belongs to you. But if it does not belong to you, then in my opinion, you are just transferring it, which is part actually of the definition of giving that the dictionary gives, transferring something from one to another. But giving, and I want to submit to you, is something from the heart. Giving is something from the heart. I am releasing something from me to you that belongs to me that you need. That is my definition of giving. Now, I'm not saying that Brother Beans is wrong, because in the act of giving is really releasing what you have to somebody else. So I am walking on the road and something falls from somebody and I picked up, and the act, and I pick it up and I call him, I say, hey, you dropped this. And the act of me picking up the thing and giving it to them, that is the act of giving. But is that really giving? Because it didn't belong to me in the first place. I am just transferring back to that person what belongs to them. So I guess there's a little fine line, in terms of perspective. If you want to say giving is just releasing to somebody, then anything you release to somebody, you have given to them. But I want us to think of giving as something that comes from me to somebody. That's how I want us to think of giving. I want us to think of giving as something that I am, as we said the other day, giving up rather than giving away. That we're giving up, it belongs to us. But because I recognize that, listen, somebody else would benefit from this. Somebody else needs this more than me, then I give it. So that is my thoughts on giving. Giving, it must belong to you. And I think if you take something that doesn't belong to you and give it to somebody, yeah, you've transferred it from somebody that you didn't know or you knew or you knew, but to somebody. But to say that you gave it, I think there's a difference there. You may not agree with me, but I think there's a difference there. It has to come from you, belong to you, something that is yours, that is released to somebody else. If it's not yours, then my definition of what that act is a transfer from one to the next. I pause for questions, comments. Okay, so let's continue. So we're looking at 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 1 to 7. 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 1 through 7.
Good
Who has that
night,
one?
everyone. Good
Aye.
night. Now, concerning the ministering to the saints, it is superfluous for me to write to you, for I know your willingness, about which I boast of you to the Macedonians, that Achaia was ready a year ago, and your zeal has stirred up the majority. Yet I have sent the brethren, lest our boasting of you should be in vain in this respect, that, as I said, you may be ready. Lest if some Macedonians come with me and find you unprepared, we, not to mention you, should be ashamed of this confident boasting. Therefore I thought it necessary to exhort the brethren to go to you ahead of time and prepare your generous gift beforehand, which you had previously promised, that it may be ready as a matter of generosity and not as a grudging obligation.
All right, stop there. All right, so it's a lot of reading there. So I just want to explain what Paul is saying. He's talking about money. He's talking about gifts, offering, all right, to the saints. He said, not concerning the ministering to the saints, it is superfluous for me to write to you. In other words, I didn't really need to do this. All right, this is kind of like, stressing something that ain't really necessary. He said, because I know about your willingness. He said, I boast about you to the Macedonians. That Achaia was ready a year ago. You were ready a year ago. Your zeal was stirred up. He said, but in spite of that, I've sent the brethren because I don't want your boasting to be in vain, lest they come and they find you unprepared. In other words, a whole year now, you said, okay, you're going to bless the people. And a whole year has passed. So I'm sending some brethren ahead so that they would let you know that they're coming. The Macedonians are coming. We don't want to find you unprepared and be ashamed of the fact that you're boasting that you could give them these offerings and these gifts, right? So he said, I thought it necessary to exhort the brethren to go ahead of time and prepare your gift beforehand, which you previously promised. So they come in so that you could organize, so that when these people come, you can have something to give them. We don't want to have you unprepared. All right, and when you're doing it, we want it to be done, as you had said before, as an act of generosity and not as an obligation. In other words, that's how you're supposed to give. But it's been a whole year now, so I'm sending them just to prepare you. Listen, you promised to give this gift, and we hope that you still feel the same way. So that's basically what Paul is saying. So go ahead. Who's reading? Make sure they can unmute.
Yes, Dr. Richard, you should be able to unmute.
I have to continue?
Yes, you have to
Oh,
continue.
sorry, Dr. Richard. Okay, so verse 6. But this I say, he who sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and he who sows bountifully will also reap bountifully. So
What does
let
that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean?
he
Do you
who
take
sows,
a spear and sew instead of a needle?
No, he who sow a little bit will reap a little bit, and he who sow plenty will reap plenty.
So then your reaping is dependent on your sowing. Is that what he's saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
So your reaping is dependent on your sowing.
Yes.
So in other words, if you want to get a harvest, then you have to sow enough to get a harvest.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you sow a little bit, if you decide, well, look, you know what I have, I could only give 1% of it, I could only give 2%, I could give, then don't expect anything great. So continue to read.
So let each one give as he purposes in his heart, not grudgingly or of necessity, for God loves a cheerful giver.
Right. So each one. So what he's saying here is that, listen, nobody enforcing you to give it on. But just know this. If you give a little bit, then expect a little bit. If you give a lot, then expect a lot. That's how it works. That's the principle. You can't decide that you're going to plant a little bit of corn, 2 grains of corn in the ground, and expect a whole harvest. You had to plant corn here and there and then, and the other. I think we usually plant in Corpus Christi corn. From what I remember, my father used to plant in Corpus Christi. But if you want plenty corn, you have to plant plenty corn. So if you want, you're always asking God, give me this, Lord, bless me, and you don't want to give. Don't expect, because God will be going against his own principle. But if you want to reap, then you've got to sow. And that's what Paul is saying. Giving. If you want to get, you got to give. If you want to get plenty, you give plenty. You want to get a little bit, then you give it. Or maybe I should say the other way around. If you give plenty, you get plenty. If you give a little bit, then expect a little bit. So Paul says, listen, let each one of you give as he purposes in his heart. I'm not telling you to join the $100 line and the $500 line and the $1,000 line. I'm not telling you that. I am telling you, you decide what you want to give. And that's how it works. You decide how much you want to give. And he said, not grudgingly. Some people give grudgingly. They give because, I told you the story already about me and that $100 many, many years ago, that when Pastor Turner lesson, I want you to go in your pocket and your wallet and the purse and take out the biggest note. And in those days, $100 was plenty money, but they were taking up offering for a certain pastor. I think it was in Queensall, I think. And I took out that $100 note, and listen, when that bucket passed and I dropped that $100 note, I am sure I saw when it fall from the top of the bucket right down. I watched it go right down. I wasn't sowing I was sowing grudgingly. I didn't want to give it. It was too much. I didn't understand the principle of giving. It was too much. So I was sowing grudgingly. Some people sow grudgingly, some sow out of necessity. They feel that I should do this, boy. Or somebody asked me once, one of my colleagues, so if you want to get money for something, you go and sow a seed in church. And a lot of people ask that question, and a lot of people feel that that's the way it works. I need something, to let me go and sow something. They don't sow because there's a need, and I'm not talking about their need. They don't sow because they want to sow into good soil. They sow because they want something, they need something, so they sow. And that's what Paul said, don't sow grudgingly or of necessity. For God loves a cheerful giver. What does that mean? Does it mean you're supposed to smile when you give? Does it mean you're supposed to laugh when you give? What does that mean? God loves a cheerful giver. Talk to me, somebody. What does it mean that God loves a cheerful giver? Anybody? Nobody? Joshua?
No one so far, Dr. Richards. Oh,
Interesting.
Minister Bernadette's hand is up. And we have one comment,
Minister Bernard.
and we have two comments. One says, be happy to give, and another says, giving is a joy, not a burden. And we have another one that says, be happy while giving.
Okay. Sister Bernadette.
Good night, everyone. I will say I personally am very excited to give. I always excited to give every opportunity that I get. I'm very, very, very happy to give, knowing where I came from having nothing. And every time that, someone asks for, or needs something, I am always I always try my best, to be that person that will assist.
Okay. Thank you. And I know a lot of people who love to give. I know people, no, let me not say a lot. I know people who love to give. And I tell you something, I don't know about you, there's a feeling. There's this feeling that you feel when you give to somebody and you know there's something that they really need. I don't know, boy. For me, I get a special kind of feeling knowing, hey, I bless this person. Not that I'm looking for any blessings, but it's just something that I feel personally, that I feel when I give to somebody.
We have another
Yes.
hand up.
Go ahead.
Sister Janet Thomas.
Yes, good night again. When you are asked to give, you put yourself in that person's position. You tell yourself, well, you could have been in that situation and you would have liked someone to assist you. So you get freely. Put yourself in that person's position. Thank you.
Yeah, and I often tell people, if I have to take up an offering and anything, I always tell people, give what you would want somebody to give to you. In other words, if they're taking up an offering for you, what would you like somebody to put in it? Or what would you like any or everybody to put in it? If you feel, well, just give me, I just want $100 or $10, then okay, fine. But if you feel that if they're taking up an offering for you, you would love everybody to put $100 or $200. That's what you put. I also tell people, give as though you're the only one giving. Because a lot of people, when we give in, especially if it's an offering, we think, well, I could just put a little $20 because I see some people putting $100 and thing, and that's plenty money. So, mine, I just put a little $10, $20. And that's wrong. That's wrong. Give as though you're the only one giving. And I want to ask this question, and we've asked it before, we've discussed it before, but I still want to throw it out. There is a saying that we should give until it hurts. What are your thoughts on that? Give until it hurts. So people say that, and I've heard it said many times before. If you really want to give, then give until it hurts. What are your thoughts? Nobody has any thoughts on this?
We have Sister Susan Sanders up.
Okay, Sister Susan.
Hi, good night.
Hi.
I feel if you have to give me something and it's hurting you, keep it.
All right.
I don't want you to be hurt.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'll remember that. Anyone else?
Elder Sherry.
Elder Sherry.
Yes, Dr. Richard. So we come back to the cheerful giver. So I think for me, first of all, I think it's just a figure of speech, But but again, giving shouldn't hurt. So it comes back to the cheerful giver. If it hurt, then you shouldn't be giving. So right back
Okay.
here.
Thank you. Anyone else?
We have a couple of comments. One says, I never saw that saying in the Bible, so I'll disregard it. Another says, no, that is not right. That is being forced to give. Giving should be joy. Another says, my thoughts is that I don't really like that. And we have
Okay.
Sister Cindy Sanders up.
Go ahead, Sister Cindy.
Good night, everyone. Well, I was going to say like Ella Sherry because it will kind of undo what the Lord say. He love a cheerful giver. And if I had to give until it hurt me, that mean, well, I ain't giving it cheerfully.
Okay. Thank you. I think people who say that, somebody saying something? Okay. I think people who say that, what they're trying to say is, if you give $20 and, you could smile and give that, then you haven't given enough. Give to the point where, let's say you have $120. Give the $100. That's what I'm just telling you, trying to paraphrase or explain what people mean when they say that. Give the one that it would cost you something, it will hurt you. Give to the point where, oh God, where I have to give this thing. That's what they say. They said if it doesn't hurt you to give, then you haven't given us yet. But like you all, I disagree with that statement. I disagree with that. Giving should never hurt. It could cost you, but it should never hurt you. Because if it hurts you, then as who said it just now, Sister Susan, if you have to give me something and it hurting you, then keep it. All right, because I don't want to hurt you. But I think it's in an effort. I don't know if it's still said, but it has been said many times before. Give until it hurts. And it's in an effort to get more out of people, to cause them to stretch, what they want to give and to give more. Because it's a kind of guilt trip that you put on. That ain't costing nothing. You don't even feeling that. And you want to give that. Now you need to give more. Give until it hurts. And I think
Dr.
that's...
Talking about another hand, Mr. Janet Thomas.
Dr. Richards,
Yes.
if you give and it pains you or it hurts you, is that not given grudgingly?
Correct. Correct. You don't want to give.
Yeah.
You're vexed to give. It's hurting you to give. All right. And that pain is a psychological pain. It's hurting you. like me and the $100. I mean, I can laugh about it now many years later. But that's what happened. I just thought it was too much to give, but I felt guilty not to give it. Because he was, and I was actually sitting on the front seat when that happened. And other people were given, seeing the blue, and I tell you. So some people, do you know that there are some people, and I'm hoping that it's not any of us here. Some people, if they're going to church, and right now we're talking about giving money, because we know giving is not just money. We know that. Some people, when they go into church, because they know they have to give offering, they only walk with a certain amount of money. Right? They don't want to have to give more than that. So if an offering is called for, maybe a special offering, so they have money set aside for the main offering, a special offering is called for. If you don't have it, you can't give it. So you leave it home. Or you leave the big denominations home and make sure you have. So people will see you going up to give or put it in the basket or whatever it is. They will see you. But nah, not those big denomination like 150 and that kind of thing. And again, what that is saying is that you'll be given grudgingly. What that is saying is that you don't really want to give. Now, if it is, and I'll say this, and I want you to hear what I'm saying, and do not hear what I'm not saying has been made famous by First Lady. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm saying to some people, if you know you are very emotional and weak, and you can be coerced into giving, then you have to take the necessary action. If you're not strong enough to say, look, I am not going to give to this, I don't feel led to give. But if every time or anytime you hear, we'll be picking up this offering for that, you just feel, oh gosh, you feel bad not to give, then you've got to protect yourself. I hope you all understand what I'm saying. There are some people that are very emotionally unstable, and they will end up giving all that they have, all right, including things that they should not give. And I'm hoping those people are in the minority and not the majority. Because we have some very skillful and persuasive offering takers. Very, very skillful. Very, very persuasive. And you end up giving what you don't even have. They end up pledging to give what you don't even have. So you've got to protect yourself. And by protecting, when I say protect yourself, you have got to know. This is a really, giving is something between you and God. You commit to God, I'm going to do this for this person, whether it's an offering, whether it's a personal giving. This is something that you must purpose in your heart to do, to help. Don't give because somebody wring your hand or make you feel bad. That's not how you give. That's grudging giving. Don't give because, you're told, listen, it doesn't matter if that's your rent money. It does not matter if it's your children's money to go to school. Once you give it, God is going to multiply it, especially if it's for something else and you're using it to give now. God will multiply it for you. He will give you 100-fold, and you're listening to that and you go on with that. Because as I said, there are some people who are very skillful in doing that, in fleecing people, in getting money out of people's hands and out of people's wallets and pockets and purses. You've got to be careful. Giving is something that you must purpose in your heart to do as an offering unto God. Whether it's an offering for the church or whatever, it must come from your heart. And that's why I said before, you can't give what you don't have. You can't take from somebody and give. That's not really giving. Giving is what you have purpose in your heart to give from you. All right, so we've come to the end of tonight. See, our time is up. We will be back tomorrow night again for another kingdom study. Thank you so much for coming tonight. And of course, we are back in the morning at 2 a.m. for our session. And then again at 11, well, 3 a.m., 12 o'clock, and 6 p.m. We are on our 21 days of prayer and fasting. Today is day number 11. Tomorrow is day number 12. And we are in this thing together. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Have a wonderful night. Minister Joshua, back over to you.